So today is the number 5 of Principle of Creation. And from today, we are going to talk about section 2 of the Principle of Creation. Section 2 is universal prime energy, give and take action, and the 4-position foundation. I was preparing to speak about universal prime energy today, but to do that, actually, I'm going to talk about God's external form and theory of oneness. This could be a part of the section 1. But in order to talk about the universal prime energy, so we need to go through this one. So I hope this is okay for you, interesting enough, but I don't know. So see what happens. Okay. So as we studied, God has, right, first course, this is God. God has the internal character, internal nature, and external form. Because God has these dual characteristics within God's self, that everything He created has same dual characteristics, right? Internal character and external form. We already went through this one. And of course, we have another dual characteristics. We talked about the dual characteristics of masculinity and femininity last time, right? So God has that kind of dual characteristics. Therefore, everything He created has the dual characteristics of yang and yin, masculinity and femininity, right? So, so we already went through that. So today, actually, we already did this one too. What is the God's internal nature or God's internal character, right? So when we look, of course, like all kinds of internal things are coming from the God, right? But the most amazing developed ability, internal ability of human being is these things: heart, intellect, emotion, and will. So intellect, emotion, and will. So these are the main function of our mind, and but center of our mind there is heart. So then why is that, right? This is not because of the incredible function or complicated the structure of the any kind of matter or brain as the material thing. Yeah. So this is because God has that kind of internal nature, internal character. Therefore, we have it, that we are not going to have these things if God doesn't have it. So that origin is God. So that means God has, within Himself, God has a heart and function of the minds, intellect, emotion, and will. This says ear. Huh? This is a will. I'm sorry. Right? So we talked about this one too already, right? 2 times ago. Okay, so now, we want to talk about this. What is God's external form? Right? God has a dual characteristics within Himself, and God's internal nature or internal character is this, right? Heart, intellect, emotion, and will. Then what is the God's external form? Yeah. So when we look at the God's creation, all the things He created, including human beings, animals, and the plants, and all the mineral world, natures, or everything, right? So the external form is those external material thing. Yeah. So then as our science developed enough, then so now we know that the energy and the matter, they are going back and forth in one sense. I don't know how to say it, but energy could become their matter, and the matter could go back to their energy. Matter means there is some kind of form, and the some kind of weight is there. That's a matter, and that's is coming from the energy which has no weight and form, right? So that's Einstein. So he found out this kind of the principle or law, right? So, but anyway, so what we know is the everything goes down to the energy. So from their energy, then the all kinds of, not the all kinds of, maybe the matter emerged, or energy changed to the matter, particles, and the next level is atoms and the molecules, right, like that. So that's that. Then what is from that viewpoint? So we may say, what is their God's external form? God's external form is the origin of all the external forms in the universe, right? So that could be the energy, but energy is in this world. So we may say the one step before the energy is God's external form. So if we say simply, that God's external form is pre-energy. So we are going back to this part next week too, in order to explain what is the universal prime energy, right? But now, so anyway, so let's, this is our view. God has the external form, then what is that? That is the pre-energy. That is the source of the all energies, and that is the source, basically the source of the all matter or materials we have in this world, right? That is a God's external form. Okay, so okay, this is the same thing. There's a different diagram. God has an internal character and external form. Then God's external form is pre-energy, right? Then the pre-energy, when that energy we have in this world is coming from this God's energy. I mean, God has some kind of energy in God's self, right? So that's that when that goes out to this universe, that becomes energy. I don't know how to say it. Yeah. So energy here. Then this energy turns to the all kinds of matters, right? So that's why we have this. All the atoms, molecules are coming from the energy, and this energy is coming from this pre-energy within God. Then that is the God's external form. Okay, so right, and as you see, the pre-energy, that's not the matter, right? That no form, no weight, and that's something could become the energy that is within God. So God has those internal character and external form. This is a mind part of God, right? Intellect, emotion, and will, and the center is their heart, right? So that is, the heart is basically the internal part. But centering the heart, then there is the internal character and external form, which is the pre-energy. So that is the God, right? That is our view, principal view of God. Okay, so let's read this one. This is from the unification thought. Then that's it explained to me, that's very clearly, right? So let's read this one. The original Hyunsan. Hyunsan is external form. Okay, so sorry, this is a Korean terminology. Hyunsan, external form. The original external form, right? Original Hyunsan, or God's Hyunsan, external form. is the aspect of God corresponding to body, like a human body, animal's body, right? Corresponding to body, and the attribute of God that is the fundamental cause of the visible material aspect of all created beings. Yeah. So that is the God's, God's Hyungsan, external form. Hyungsan, next. Hyungsan corresponds to what is generally referred to as matter. Yeah. It is the material that forms all created beings, and at the same time, it is the potential that can manifest itself in a limitless number of forms. Right? Actually, when the God's Hyungsan manifested in this universe, right? Then of course that becomes the particles, atoms, and molecules. And actually, there are many different kind of atoms, and that forms there are many different kind of molecules, and that can form the limitless number of forms, right? All kinds of things can be created or can be formed by this one. Yeah, so that is a God's Hyungsan. So according to modern physics, all matter is composed of atoms, and atoms are composed of the elementary particles, and elementary particles are made of energy. Yeah. Hence, the essence of matter can be regarded as energy, right? Essence of matter can be regarded as energy. From the viewpoint of unification thought, the essence of God's Hyungsan is a kind of energy. Yeah, so, right, so you remember, I explained already this one. Yeah, so that's according to the unification thought, the essence of God's Hyungsan is a kind of energy. So that energy, however, is not the same as physical energy in the created world. It is energy in a state before it is phenomenalized as energy in the created world, right? But one step before the energy we have in this world. The energy of God's Hyungsan can be called pre-energy. Yeah. So okay, that is basically the God's external form. God's Hyungsan is the pre-energy. All right, so the same thing, yeah. So this external form of God is pre-energy. So that this is the source of all the materials, right? This is the source of the energy, and the energy is the source of all materials, right? So this is the God's external form, yeah. So when we think God this way, or when we understand God this way, then we understand God is truly the one being, one being. We call that the theory of oneness. Okay, this is a quote from the David Bohm, a British physicist. He said, "Mind and matter are but two parallel streams arising from the same source. Both are from the same source." The physicist, so he said something like this. Okay, I said maybe physician, no, physicist, right? Okay, theory of oneness, unification theory. So then this, I don't know that I don't know, like, you how you take this one, but this understanding of God is very unique. If we, if I explain this way, then I hope that this makes sense. That within God, the source of our mind and spirit and our ability of think, right, is God, and also the source of all the materials and the matter is also in the same God as the dual characteristics, right? So that is our understanding. So, okay, so the origin of both spirit and materials is one God, the same God, right? God has those two source of those two seems like different things, right? Spirit and matter, or kind of like internal spiritual, or that our mind or thinking, that part, and the external material part, right? So the source of those two things seems like those things are completely different things, right? But the source of those two different things, like the mind and the body, or the spirit and the matter, or mind and the matters, they are one God. The source of those two are one, which is God. Okay, so that is the theory of oneness. Okay, so then why that is so unique? So we have that, I listed some kind of understanding of their origin, right? Spiritualism, one is a spiritualism. The basically Christian notion of God is this one. God is a spirit. God is pure spirit, right? Then the pure spirit created materials, created this world, right? That's basically it's called the creation by nothing, something like that. So we go there soon. We're going to talk about it soon. But that spiritualism, right? The source of this entire world is the God, which is the spirit, only spirit, right? So then another thinking, in terms of the philosophy or theology, of course, like materialism is not a theology. This is, the one of the philosophy. Origin, materialism means like origin is the material. Material produce spirit or mind. We have a mind, but that's a production of the matter or materials. We think because of our brain, right? Brain itself is a material, right? So that this material or this matter, this thing produce the spiritual things or mind, so that is the materialism, right? Everything's coming from the material, everything coming from the matter like this. Then according to the communism, most developed the materialism according to their idea, and then human brain is the most sophisticated, highly developed matter. That's the best matter in this world is the human brain. That human brain can produce the function of the mind, right? Which is the reasoning, intellect, emotion, love, that's a sadness, that's an emotion, and the will, power of their will, to decide to do something. All those things are the result of the materials, right? That is a materialism. Then another one is a dualism. Maybe spelling is wrong. Dualism. So there are origin of spirit and the origin of materials. That's a dualism. So there are things in the Western philosophy, Western world of philosophy. We have been thinking that what is the origin, what is the source of everything, right? So then there are three kinds of thinking: spiritualism, materialism, and dualism. Yeah. So then actually our idea, this theory of oneness is, different from these three. This historically, that's our understanding of God is the pre-revolutionary and, pretty remarkable. All right. So anyway, so let's go through a little bit about these three, step by step. Dualism. Okay, that's the origin of this idea is basically the Aristotle. This guy is famous. This guy is the father of the philosophy, right? So it's famous, right? The Aristotle. So his idea is the dualism. There was two sources for the spirit and the material, right? So anyway, this is from the unification thought too. So bear with me. So let's read this one. Let us now examine certain important points of Aristotle's view of substance. According to Aristotle, substance consists of eidos, I don't know how to pronounce, eidos, form, and the hydi, matter. Okay, these, right? Basically, this is a kind of a spiritual thing, and this is a matter, right? Eidos refers to the essence that makes a substance into what it is, right? Internal part of the existence. That is eidos. And hydi refers to the material that forms the substance, material itself. Yeah? Aristotle's eidos and hydi, which became two basic concepts in Western philosophy, correspond to Sun and Hyun in unification thought, right? So we have Sun is a Korean term, I'm sorry. Then this is the internal nature or internal character. And the Hyun, this is the external form, right? We say the God has the dual characteristics of Sun and Hyun. That means the internal character and the external form. Right, these are Aristotle's two kind of idea, two different kind of sources, eidos and hydi, right? The form and the matter. These two are corresponding to these two. Like eidos is the Sun, and this one matter hydi is the Hyun, right? They're very similar. Right? Very similar. However, it is different. According to Aristotle, when we trace eidos and hydi back to their ultimate origin, we arrive at pure eidos or prime eidos and prime hydi, right? Pure eidos or God is pure activity without any form. Right, that is the prime eidos. That's the source of their spirit, source of their mind, right? That is that pure eidos or God. His thought, pure eidos is God. God is the pure eidos, pure spirit. That is God, right? Pure activity without any form. So God has no form, no matter, no materials, right? He is purely the activity, thinking, right? So that is the eidos. Pure eidos is God, right? It is nothing but thinking itself, right? Just thinking. So that is the Aristotle's eidos. Thus, God was regarded as pure thinking, right? For him, God is the pure thinking, and or the thinking of thinking. Okay, then prime hydi, this one, however, was considered to be entirely independent of God. The different things, right? God is there as the pure thinking, and another source is independently existing besides God, right? So that is this one, pure hydi. Hence, Aristotle's ontology was a kind of dualism, right? Because there is God, which is the thinking or pure thinking, and besides God, there was another source for the materials, right, or forms. So that's why Aristotle's idea is a kind of dualism. right? Also in regarding prime highly to be independent of God, it different from the Christian view of God as the creator of all things, right? So that's, I mean, this is a kind of like the what classic of the dualism. So he had that kind of idea, Aristotle, and basically Western philosophy was developed based on this Aristotle's, this basic idea. Some disagreed and some agreed, of course. So, but okay, so that this shapes his idea, shaped the Western philosophy. All right. So this is a dualism, right? There is God, which is a spirit, or which is a thinking, and another source of their materials. This is the dualism. Okay. So then the spiritualism. So this is a basically the Christian idea of God, right? Affirming that God is a spirit. Augustine, Saint Augustine, the famous Saint Augustine. Augustine claimed that God produced matter from nothing. Right? God has nothing to do with the matter. God is the spirit. God is a pure spirit, right? Like Aristotle's pure thinking. But Christian believe basically that God, which is a spirit, produced matter from nothing and created the world. Thomas Aquinas, another famous philosopher, theologian, Thomas Aquinas inherited Aristotle's principle of matter and form and regarded God as pure form. Okay, in this form means eidos, right? Pure thinking, God as pure spirit, which has no matter, right? That is Thomas Aquinas' idea of God, same as Aristotle, but of course different is they believe God is the only one source. God is the only cause. God is the pure spirit. However, so God created the world, created from nothing. God created matter from nothing. So the Saint Aquinas, Thomas Aquinas, and Saint Augustine, basically they have same kind of idea. Like Augustine, Aquinas maintained that God created the world from nothing. So Aquinas claimed that God created the world from nothing. God created everything, including Haile. And since no element of Haile existed within God, Aquinas could not but affirm the doctrine of creatio ex nihilo. I don't know what kind of language this is, but anyway, that this is a creation from nothing. Right? Creation from nothing. God created everything from nothing. So that is their understanding. The doctrine that matter comes from nothing, however, is unacceptable to modern science, which holds that the universe is made of energy. Right? So that became the weakness of the Christianity. So that's why maybe I may say something like this later. But the weakness of Christian theology, right? That they believe God is only spirit. Then after we human beings developed their science, and then there was the rationalism became so popular in 19th century, and Christian theology or Christian faith was regarded as the non-scientific, not scientific. That is the illusional belief, right? So that the people began to regard Christian idea or Christian faith as such things, not scientific, or they believe things, illusional things, right? So that's the limitation of the this idea. Also, the unification thought pointed out this one, right? How does this understanding of God refers to actual problems? Since these views regard the spirit as primary and matters as secondary, right? They have developed the tendency to neglect the physical world and to attach importance only to the spiritual world. So that's when you become the very faithful person and believe in God and believe in the Spirit of God, then according to their understanding, God is only Spirit, right? Then the God created everything from nothing. All the material things are the secondary thing. God is a spirit, that's why that is most important, and the material things are secondary important or secondary thing. So when we think about the life for a human being from that kind of viewpoint, and then its unification thought said they have developed a tendency to neglect the physical world, and to attach importance only to the spiritual world. So that's kind of like an issue emerges, that they have a tendency to neglect of the physical world or the actual physical necessity, importance of the physical world, importance of the materials, importance of our physical life, which is actually very much necessary, right? So anyway, so that's the one negative point of the spiritualism, and okay, let me see. Okay, let's keep going. This is still unification thought. This resulted in the view that the only thing that is important is salvation in the world after death, right? So, okay, sometimes we see that, right? Especially throughout the Christian history, this part was emphasized, and maybe still now too, in one sense. Nevertheless, matter is necessary in actual life. Hence, Christian life has remained in the contradictory state of pursuing material goods in actual life while holding material things in little regard in the realm of their faith. As a result, Christian theology has failed to provide solutions to actual problems. So yeah, so this is the unification thoughts viewpoint. Since our material reality and the fact that we have a physical body, the fact that we need the material to survive, knowing that, then so we need to have some kind of balanced view, right? Spiritual side and the physical side, right? Just should be balanced, like our mind and the body cannot be separated. So the spiritual issue and the physical issue should be seen as the unified problem, right? But the basically, since Christians, the view of God is the spiritualism, or God is only spirit, they lack such a balanced view of the world, right? That's what the unification thought is saying. All right. So Christian faith is considered as non-scientific ideology. So that's one thing I said, right? As our science developed so much in, after the Renaissance, of course, but especially in the 18th, 19th century, and of course 20th century, incredible development in the science. Yeah. So then the rationalism became so popular. okay, Western, when rationalism became popular in 19th century, materialism began to consider as more scientific and realistic ideology. So, so that's Christianity seems the non-scientific, right? And actually, probably still now, many people may think that way. America is a little bit different from other nations, actually. When you go to Japan, and this view is very popular. Christian's faith, right, that believing in God as a creator is not scientific. This like almost against the scientific the discovery. That is against the human rational thinking, right? So that's how like we lost God in many places, including Europe. Again, America is a little bit different. America is so spiritual, even though incredible the developed technology is here, but the people in America has still some kind of spirituality, amazingly, right? So, but anyway, in Europe and other places, when we developed, as we developed the science, and that we began to lose God. Yeah. So then that's why the materialism emerged in 19th century, and we may have to talk about it later again about the materialism, right? So, but materialism, if we fall into the materialism, that has a lot of problem. Okay, let me see. Okay, maybe I wrote down here. As science developed more, okay, materialism itself is problematic. As science really developed, that happened too. But okay, let's talk about the problems of the materialism. There are lots of things if you fall into the materialism, that's not so good, because if you think everything was from the material, everything, that the source of everything is material, right? Our brain, because of our material brain, which is a material, produced our spirit, produced our thinking, produced our emotion, right? Produced even love, right? Love is the result of the materials, or love is the product of their brain material, chemical, right? Chemical reaction or something like that. So if we think the human being, if you see the human being that way, that became the lots of troubles. Then you don't find where is your value. Well, if you are the just sophisticated developed matter, right? Then where is your the value, or the what is the value of your life? What is the value of your existence? That's those like a value thing. The value that human value cannot be determined by the material aspect, right? We know that our original mind knows that our original value or spiritual aspect of human being should be understood by some spiritual aspect. Then of course, like in one sense, we need to go back to God. So that's affirm our the absolute value of myself or of yourself, right? So, but if you deny God, then everything is material. If you think that way, then you don't know what is the true value of human being, what is the true value of yourself, right? So then you may find out, because I can do this, because I can do that, because I have ability of something, because I'm useful for this, that, that you may find some kind of value. But what if like you lose it? What if like you get an accident and you could not function anymore? Then you lose your value, right? That's a fundamental question. like if you are if you depends on your value, depend no no if you think uh, about your value is depending on what you can do, how much you are useful for the society, or because of some kind of external thing. Then what about if you lose it? Then where is the value, right? So that's we divine principle is affirming that each one of the human being has the absolute value like God, right? That's what we learned, last 3 4 times, right? Then I like that idea. Then I think that is the truth. But if you deny God, if you fall into the materialism, you don't know where is your value. That's why, or I tell you that when you believe in the materialism, especially when you believe in the communism, they because they don't know the true value of the human being, then therefore they could massacre people for the establishment of their communist society, right? That the Stalin, I mean, it was reported Stalin killed about the 20 million. Yeah. Then the Mao in China, so he killed probably about the 60 million people, for their some purpose, not just not just crazy. Of course they are crazy, but not just like they are the dictatorship or crazy guy became the dictator, then like just kill people, random. No, they did that according to their theory, according to their belief, of the Marxism or communism. Then they systematically killed people, right? How can you do that? Because they do not know the true value of the human being, So anyway, so that is the one example, right? The materialism is that has the lots of trouble, Then you may see people, even see your neighbors, and your brothers, and your sisters, when you really think deeply, what do you think, the love toward those people is that love toward the parents, love toward your spouse, love toward your children. That's everything comes from this material, which called the brain, most sophisticated, developed the matter, that is the brain. So everything from brain, right? We can't see people that way. No, we cannot. That's really the devil, according to the divine principle. That is so satanic. So we should not fall into that. But because Christian faith, that Christian faith or Christian's understanding of God is limited. That fell into the spiritualism, then that's why then the people began to think the Christian faith or believing in God is not scientific, right? Okay, so that was the issue. However, when we enter into the 20th century, then science developed more and more and more. So then, as a result, then we kind of that's the re coming back to the more balanced view, because materialism doesn't make sense either. Materialism is not really scientific either, right? So when you really understand the human brain, how human brains working, how like the human body is functioning, or what is actually life, what is a life, how the atoms and the molecules can produce the power of life, right? The science can't explain it. No matter how science developed, maybe they can never explain it, right? So then now we understand that, right? So that we know that the limitation of their materialism, limitation of their spiritualism, now, right? But that the dualism is also doesn't make sense. Only making sense is this idea, unification view of God. theory of oneness, right? God himself, God is only one, and God has the source of their spirit or mind and the source of their materials, right? In one God, in God, then no separation. In God, then those source of the spirit and matter exist within one God, right? So I don't know. That's to me that is a so amazing view. That solved the most fundamental issues in the philosophical world, and that can solve a lot of issues in this world, I believe. So when we understand God that way, right, then we understand God is such a one being, harmonized being, and so He created this entire world, right? When we understand that, or when we accept that, I don't know, I like the idea. Then I believe that is the truth. God created God created this world, and that God is such God, harmonized, one God. God has a dual characteristics within himself, which is not separated within God, because God is God, and that's a one God. Harmony is there. Therefore, entire universe should be like God, because the things are created by such God. Everything should be like God, right? Originally, if we, you know, if the fall did not happen, then the entire universe, including human society, should be like that. Mind and body unity, man and woman unity, everything relating each other. Nothing is existing by itself. Every being needs somebody to exist, and they're interconnecting, and the mutual relationship, and the interdependence. So we are existing that way because God himself has the internal relationship between dual characteristics within himself. Therefore, the external substantial manifestation, which is this universe, because this universe is the external substantial manifestation of God. Therefore, everything should be existing through the mutual relationship, supporting each other, and the living for the sake of others. In the human society, we are supposed to live for the sake of others. Then every being has such amazing value like God, right? So that is our view. We never reach that kind of view up until today, because our understanding of God is so limited. We never understand God this way. That was not balanced. I mean, we have been seeking what is their God, what is their origin, right? Then materialism denied God, but the religion, and most of the religion, or many, not many, I don't know. So that the Christianity, the Muslim, the Jewish religion believe in God as a creator, but could not really understand the essence of God. Who is God, right? We did not know, we did not know, no, until today, right? So I think that's a reality. Until today, we really did not understand God fully, right? So now I think this divine principle or unification thought is revealing the true identity or true reality of God, and that can help us a lot. If once we understand God this way, that can help us the very substantial way, very much, So, all right. So that, I think that is the today's content. What's the point? God is the one. you know, very simple